Overview. Elon Musk is a fascinating biography of perhaps the most famous entrepreneur, inventor, and industrialist of our time. From his beginnings as a boy growing up in apartheid-era South Africa, to his university days in Canada, to his startup adventures in Silicon Valley, and, finally, to his triumphs as the head of SpaceX and Tesla Motors, Elon Musk reveals the story behind the man in the headlines. Although many people know about Musk's current empire, Vance's biography explores his difficult formative years, the near failure of several of his companies, and the ups and downs of his unique path to success. As the founder of Zip2, Elon made millions in the dot-com boom. He immediately put that money into X.com, a company that would eventually become known as PayPal. He then invested in SpaceX, a rocket company, and Tesla, the electric car company he would develop into the companies they are today. Lesser-known tales of how close both Tesla and SpaceX came to bankruptcy, or the trail of broken relationships left in Musk's work and love life are explored. Elon Musk details out his personal experiences, such as the traumatic loss of his firstborn son and the difficult divorces from his first and second wives. It discusses the relentless focus Musk brings to his projects, his obsession with quality over profit, and how this affects his relationships with his employees and partners. In many ways, we are living in the world Musk first envisioned as a preteen. Elon Musk allows us to learn not only who the man once was, but who the man has become. Summary. 1. Elon's world. The author, Ashlee Vance, meets Elon Musk for dinner at a restaurant in Los Angeles. After many months of effort, he has finally convinced Elon to sit down with him. Over dinner, he discusses his plans to colonize Mars and release a new electric car. Vance, meanwhile, is there to strike a deal for access and cooperation on a wide-ranging biography that will tell the story of the visionary. Elon eventually agrees. As he takes his leave, he asks Vance, "Do you think I'm insane?" It is a question the author will pursue throughout the book. Need to know, unlike other would-be biographers, Vance alone was successful in obtaining Musk's cooperation, after telling Elon he would write the book with or without him. Elon spent more than 30 hours with Vance and participated in multiple interviews. 2. Africa. Elon Musk first made headlines at the age of 12, in 1984, the early days of personal computing, when a publication printed the code for a video game he wrote himself. It was apartheid-era South Africa, and the young coder was the son of Errol and the glamorous May Musk, who had moved to South Africa from Canada as a child. May still works as a model. The marriage was tumultuous and ended in divorce. Elon wound up with his father, Errol. An engineer by trade, Errol was a difficult and strict parent. Elon said his childhood was like misery, and has vowed to never let his children meet their grandfather. By the 3rd or 4th grade, Elon ran out of books to read at the school's library. He would sneak into a bookstore and read books off the shelf, occasionally getting kicked out. He eventually began reading the Encyclopedia Britannica, which he loved. His preternatural knowledge, enthusiasm for learning, creativity, and a focus on the big questions did not endear him to his classmates. When a friend said he was afraid of the dark, Elon replied that there was nothing to be afraid of because darkness is merely an absence of light. As an independent scholar, he did well, but Elon had a tough time in school and was occasionally beaten up. At 10 years old, he convinced his father to buy him a Commodore VIC-20 computer. It came with a guide meant to be used over 6 months. Elon exhausted it in 3 days. Despite his bookish nature, Elon was a key member of an enterprising preteen team who came up with their own schemes. The other members were his little brother Kimball, and his cousins Russ, Lyndon, and Peter, all of whom often got in trouble. Presaging his times at SpaceX, Elon became interested in building rockets and explosives, mixing chemicals himself. Once, Elon and his cousins got a lease for a video arcade, but the plan fizzled when they found they needed someone over the age of 18 to sign the document. He and his cousins also took the dangerous train ride to Johannesburg, which they recount as a formative experience. In high school, as in grade school, Elon was bullied. although he was treated better as he became older. His classmates do not remember him as an exceptional student, and some expressed surprise that he became so successful. Elon himself recounts that he got good grades only in classes he cared about. After high school, Elon spent 5 months at the University of Pretoria before moving to Canada at the young age of 17. In light of his mother's Canadian roots, Elon was able to secure Canadian citizenship and was determined to eventually make it to the United States. Need to know, as a child, Elon Musk demonstrated a remarkable affinity for learning, a trait for which he was often bullied. Unhappy in South Africa, he moved to Canada as soon as he could. 3. Canada. Elon arrived in Canada without a job or a place to live. He had planned to stay with a great-uncle, but learned that he had moved to Minnesota. Without a fixed address, Elon bought a bus ticket and traveled across Canada, staying with relatives along the way until he reached Swift Current, Saskatchewan, where his grandfather used to live. He stayed with a second cousin and, for the next year, worked odd jobs around the country. He was a hard worker, and one of only a few employees who stuck out a grueling and dangerous job in the boiler room of a lumber mill. In 1989, Elon enrolled at Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. There he met Justine Wilson, a fellow student and his future wife. Although she dated popular men and imagined a whirlwind romance with a writer, Elon relentlessly pursued her. In 1992, Elon received a scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania and transferred there. Throughout university, Elon showed an ability to delve into a subject and completely master it far more than other high achievers. Elon displayed his passion for clean energy early on. During his time at Penn, he wrote a paper predicting a fall in the price of solar cells, and a corresponding rise in their adoption in society. He also wrote papers predicting the rise of a product similar to Google Books, and another on ultracapacitors and their potential use in energy storage. While at Penn, Elon became friends with Hideo Resi, who also became a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. Elon and Resi rented out a house and supported themselves by throwing parties, charging hundreds of guests $5 apiece. Elon, not a big fan of alcohol, drank little, and instead focused on managing the chaos. Elon already knew he wanted to change the world, though he hadn't resolved on how. He decided to not return to his early roots in gaming after briefly considered it. Video games would not direct the future of humanity. Need to know, once Elon's brother Kimball arrived in Canada, the two began randomly calling interesting and famous people they wanted to meet. One person they called was a bigwig at the Bank of Nova Scotia. He took the call, agreed to meet the Musk brothers, and ended up being a mentor to Elon. 4. Elon's first startup. Before setting off on his own, Elon did 2 internships in Silicon Valley. One was at Pinnacle Research Institute, a startup examining the use of ultracapacitors in electric vehicles. The other was at Rocket Science Games, a startup that focused on creating state-of-the-art video games. After graduating from Penn, Elon and his brother Kimball created Global Link Information Network, which would eventually be renamed Zip2. Zip2 was essentially a mashup of the old Yellow Pages directory and a map that directed customers to nearby businesses. It was not instantly successful. In the very early days of the web, it was difficult convincing businesses to pay to be listed on the site. Elon and Kimball lived a Spartan existence while getting the business off the ground. They were helped by Greg Kouri, an old acquaintance from Canada, who invested $6,000 and joined as a co-founder. Then, in 1996, the company received a $3 million investment from a venture capital firm. With the funds, Zip2 changed its strategy. Instead of selling the service to businesses, they would create software to sell to newspapers, which had already realized the internet might overtake their business in classified ads. Elon became chief technology officer of the company, and the venture capital firm brought in someone else to be the chief executive officer. Elon would come to regret giving up the CEO role. Elon and his brother enjoyed their newfound success. They were able to buy new cars, and Elon became less volatile and more confident. However, he clashed with the CEO about the direction of the company. Elon wanted to sell to individual consumers, while the CEO and board wanted to focus on selling to businesses. The argument came to a head over a proposed merger with CitySearch, a rival. CitySearch, however, had not been entirely transparent about its finances, so the deal was abandoned. When Compaq swept in and purchased the company for $307 million, Elon made $22 million from the deal and immediately began planning his next move. Need to know, Elon was a shrewd predictor of how the internet would power businesses, though the businesses themselves took convincing. The acquisition of his first company made him $22 million, but arguments with investors made him resolve to never give up the CEO role again. 5. PayPal Mafia Boss. In the early 1990s, while holding an internship at the Bank of Nova Scotia, Elon had discovered what was essentially an opportunity to make billions of dollars off of debt. The US Treasury backed certain types of South American government debt at around 50 cents on the dollar and, since the bonds were trading at 25 cents on the dollar, billions of dollars worth of bonds were selling for half of their guaranteed value. Elon pointed out to the CEO that, unless the US Treasury defaulted, this was essentially billions of dollars of free money. The CEO rejected the proposal, and Elon decided that if a bank would reject a deal this good, he could beat the banking industry. With X.com, Elon's next company, he tried to do just that. At a time when many people were still afraid of putting their credit card information online, Elon believed he could create a fully digital bank. X.com offered $20 sign-up bonuses and $10 for every referral, and grew quickly, with 200,000 sign-ups in the first few months. Meanwhile, Elon was enjoying the fruits of his success. He purchased a condo and a $1 million McLaren supercar, at the time the fastest car in the world. Unlike many other supercar owners, Elon drove his every day. Another startup, led by future Silicon Valley legends Peter Thiel and Max Levchin, rented office space from X.com. Originally called Confinity, it was rebranded as PayPal.com. Their company first focused on allowing people to transfer money using Palm Pilots, but moved on to email-based payments and money transfers. Although relations were initially friendly, the two companies quickly became rivals, and PayPal moved to another building nearby. 5 months into X.com, co-founder Harris Fricker, also a former Nova Scotia bank intern, attempted a coup. If Elon didn't make him CEO, he would pull out, along with most of the talent. Elon told him to leave, and Fricker was good on his word. Mere months into the company, Elon had to start again. By March of 2000, PayPal had emerged as a hot consumer brand but was running out of money, while X.com had significantly more resources. The companies merged, but tensions were still high. Elon wanted to keep the X.com name, while most other employees believed PayPal was a better option. The tension led to Thiel's resignation. But the war was not over. A group of employees plotted to oust Elon and replace him with Thiel. As Elon boarded a plane to Australia for his honeymoon with his new wife, Justine, a group of employees convinced the board to replace Elon with Thiel. Elon found out upon landing in Australia and immediately flew back, but it was too late. Elon loyalists were disappointed, but Elon maintained a level head and continued to invest. When eBay offered to buy PayPal, Elon and others argued for a better deal. In July of 2002, eBay upped the offer to $1.5 billion. After taxes, Elon made about $180 million. Need to know, with his new money, Elon happily entered into a new phase of life, celebrity. He allowed CNN to do a piece profiling him on the occasion of his accepting the delivery of a new $1 million sports car. 6. Mice in space. Elon turned 30 in June of 2011. He and Justine decided to leave Silicon Valley for Los Angeles in order to start a family and to be closer to the aerospace industry, which had thrived in the area since the 1920s. Elon joined the Mars Society, an organization dedicated to visiting the Red Planet, and was dumbfounded when he learned NASA had no plans to attempt a trip. Elon formed his own group, the Life to Mars Foundation, which brought together top scientists to determine how to stimulate public interest in a mission to Mars. Among the ideas that came was one of sending a group of mice to the Red Planet, or creating a greenhouse that, when reaching the Red Planet, would scoop up Martian soil and attempt to grow plants in it. Elon believed if he could demonstrate the possibility of life on Mars, even in a very limited way, it could have a profound effect. To tackle the problem of cost, he first explored purchasing rockets from Russia. He then decided to form his own rocket company. Industry insiders believed it was impossible to compete with established corporations and institutions, but Elon was undaunted. He felt the aerospace industry had stopped progressing half a century ago, and it was time for a new way of thinking. Ambitious as ever, he promised to launch the first rocket in November of 2003, only 15 months after the founding of the company. Once the PayPal deal wrapped up, Elon was able to infuse SpaceX with $100 million, ensuring he would remain CEO. Elon faced a personal tragedy when his newborn son died of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. While Justine publicly grieved, Elon largely hid his emotions. The couple tried IVF soon after, and Justine would go on to have twins and then triplets, all boys. To test the rockets and design, SpaceX acquired property in Texas once owned by Andrew Beale, another billionaire who had nurtured dreams of space. SpaceX engineers went back and forth between Los Angeles and Texas, testing rocket engines and design. As always, Elon drove his employees hard. As a publicity stunt, he brought a rocket across the country and parked it in front of the Federal Aviation Administration in Washington, D.C. To launch its first rockets, SpaceX was forced to go to the Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands. After several false starts, on March 24, 2006, their first rocket launched. Then, within 25 seconds it caught on fire, spun out of control, and fell to Earth. A corroded nut was likely to blame. The second rocket, launched on March 21, 2007, made it nearly 5 minutes before exploding. Employees were devastated, but Elon remained undaunted. Need to know, Elon, flush with PayPal money, was able to pursue and fund his long-standing interest in space travel, forming the rocket company SpaceX. Despite setbacks and failures, Elon made sure the company kept the public interested. 7. All electric. Elon joined Tesla Motors founders Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning during a funding round, becoming the chairman and largest shareholder. Initially, Tesla planned to build its first car by combining parts from AC Propulsion, a hobbyist electric car company, with parts from Lotus, the British sports car manufacturer. The plan was for their electric car to reduce the need for oil, be more environmentally friendly, and outperform electric rivals. Indeed, a kit electric car used to wow investors was faster than a Ferrari. There were a number of hurdles. The first battery pack was vulnerable to explosion, and the Lotus body frame had to be lengthened. Elon continually pushed for the design to be accessible and less of a hardcore sports car. By July of 2006, a second prototype was launched with great fanfare. Even the governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, showed up. At an event in Pebble Beach a few months later, dozens of people wrote $100,000 pre-order checks. But Elon slowed the project with refinements and improvements. Then, a faulty transmission had to be completely redesigned, and several workers entirely retrained at the Tesla factory in Thailand. Disaster struck when Tesla realized the cost to create a Roadster was actually $200,000, not the $68,000 they had projected. These cost overruns led to ousting Eberhard, who remains on bad terms with Elon. When the next CEO, Michael Marks, wanted to sell Tesla to a larger car company, he too was out. Another CEO was brought in, but the company was still in trouble. The Roadster was late and Elon had to reassure customers and investors that it would arrive. Meanwhile, the 2008 financial crisis and the subsequent recession made raising additional capital a slog. Tesla's future was uncertain. Need to know, Elon had always been obsessed with electric cars, and when he got the chance to invest in Tesla, he seized it. His efforts helped Tesla succeed, but he clashed with co-founder Martin Eberhard. 8. Pain, suffering, and survival. From attending weddings with Bono to partying with Leonardo DiCaprio, Elon was now part of an elite social scene. But work and home life were chaotic. His investments in Tesla and SpaceX had yet to pay out. In fact, people questioned if the companies would survive. Meanwhile, his marriage to Justine was suffering. Elon believed she had postpartum depression after the birth of their triplets. Justine documented many of their marital fights on her blog. Elon filed for divorce, and the couple engaged in a messy public battle. Not long after, Elon met his second wife, Tallulah Riley, at a London club. Just a few weeks later, Elon proposed and Riley accepted. Writing his companies was less easy. On August 2, 2008, during SpaceX's third launch, the Falcon 1 rocket exploded, dealing a crushing blow. Thankfully, A September 28 launch was successful. Without it, the company would have likely folded immediately. In any case, it was still running out of money. Tesla, also under financial strain, had only delivered 60 Roadsters. The press seized on a negative memo leaked anonymously, and Elon, without enough cash to save both companies, considered letting one die. Hours before Tesla would have gone bankrupt, Elon bluffed investors trying to hardball him and received a new round of funding. Meanwhile, SpaceX was able to get a last-minute $1.6 billion deal with NASA for missions to the International Space Station. Elon had narrowly averted bankruptcy and saved both Tesla and SpaceX. Need to know: shortly after his divorce from Justine in 2008, Elon quickly remarried and rescued both SpaceX and Tesla from imminent bankruptcy. In both his personal and work life, Elon was prone to last-minute saves. 9. Liftoff. With more than 50 launches scheduled over the next few years, SpaceX has achieved a level of success that was once unimaginable for a private rocket company. Part of the reason for this is Elon's demanding standards. Programmers are often subjected to 500-line coding tests, far more than average. If a candidate passes this rigorous screening, they are then asked to write a personal letter telling Elon why they want to work for the company. In interviews, Elon often emails and does other work while they speak, then hits them with incisive questions and riddles. A favorite is a logic trick regarding walking around the North Pole. Current employees have compared working at SpaceX to working in the Special Forces. Elon has berated employees at parties, and he refuses to go public with his company, fearing that his workers would abandon their innovative work for easy money on Wall Street. Elon doesn't only care about the company running smoothly. He is focused on the aesthetics as well. From a data center lit by blue lights to the oversized letters on the extra-large computers at the office, SpaceX is less like an office and more like the set of a sci-fi movie. The brand new Dragon capsule for human spaceflight looks like it is out of a movie, with advanced flat-screen TVs and stylish but supportive seats. SpaceX has consistently made advancements in the products that are used in their rockets. While their competitors still largely use technology from the 60s, SpaceX has raced ahead, finding easier and cheaper solutions. The Russian Soyuz capsule is apparently largely unchanged since its inaugural mission in 1966. Elon believes space-age technology should look like it is from the future, not the past. SpaceX hasn't just changed the traditional rocketry supply chain, it has also transformed the way rockets are built. The company manufactures 80 to 90% of its own parts, an unheard-of figure in an industry with huge supply chains. SpaceX pioneered a new welding technique that allows it to make rockets significantly cheaper and lighter. These advances have attracted other players. Blue Origin, the rival rocket maker founded by Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, has aggressively poached SpaceX talent, to Elon's annoyance. Need to know: Elon has pushed SpaceX to develop new technologies and new manufacturing methods to help humans get to space. His demanding requirements have sometimes led to fights within the company, but they have also revolutionized the industry. 10. The revenge of the electric car. To design the Model S Tesla car, engineers initially purchased a Mercedes sedan, stripped it, and then rebuilt it as an electric car. This allowed engineers to test concepts. A gorgeous design came from new hire Franz von Holzhausen, famous for his version of the VW Beetle. To reduce weight, Elon insisted on building the car out of aluminum, an innovation that created multiple engineering conundrums. In March of 2009, Tesla revealed the Model S to the public, to great fanfare. Over a year later, thanks to the upheaval of the Great Recession, the company was able to buy the old NUMMI plant in Fremont, California, which would handle production. Flush from these providential events, Tesla went public, raising $226 million. On June 22, 2012, Tesla delivered the first Model S sedans to paying customers. With a 17-inch touchscreen, 2 trunks, seating for up to 7 people, and a 4.2-second 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration time, the Model S didn't just compete with gasoline vehicles, it demolished them. Sales spiked and the accolades started pouring in. Motor Trend named the Model S the 2012 Car of the Year. Consumer Reports gave it a near-perfect 99/100th rating, the highest any vehicle had ever achieved at that time. As the good news came in, Tesla's stock price began a steep ascent, and Elon created a revolutionary nationwide network of free supercharger stations for the pollution-free vehicles. Still, by February of 2013, Tesla was in crisis again. Early production runs of the Model S were unreliable, while the company was having difficulty turning reservations into real sales. Elon moved employees out of their normal jobs and into closing sales. To allay concerns that the cars would quickly lose value, he personally guaranteed the resale value of the Model S. As Elon was on the verge of selling to Google, the Tesla team closed sales above expectations. Tesla had its first post-IPO profit. Elon had done the impossible, and Tesla would remain an independent company. Need to know, the Model S Tesla was uniformly praised and superb in design, but the company had difficulty scaling. Engineering struggles and bad sales stalled success for years. Elon's intense management and staffing choices allowed the company to avoid a buyout. 11. The unified field theory of Elon Musk. At Tesla, Musk has the Model 3 in the works, a $35,000 car meant to compete in the mass market that could make Tesla one of the leading car companies in the world. Intent on expanding its production future, Tesla is building the Gigafactory, which will produce the batteries for the Model 3. Meanwhile, Musk maintains the goal of taking humans to Mars, and SpaceX is building its own spaceport in Texas. There are also plans for a worldwide satellite internet network, and for the Hyperloop, a pneumatic tube transportation system that can carry passengers at speeds of 800 miles per hour. All of this ambition has come at a personal cost, including 2 divorces, and a number of fractured business relationships. Some have claimed that Musk may be on the autism spectrum, but Ashlee Vance instead believes that Musk's drive leaves him little time for social graces. Many young entrepreneurs, however, are filled with nothing but praise. Larry Page, for instance, holds him up as a model. Need to know, Elon Musk has burned through multiple personal and professional relationships, but he has also profoundly changed the future of transportation, banking, and space travel. His work seeks to both help the environment and powerfully innovate our world. He has moved on to investing in SolarCity, a manufacturer and installer that may transform the power grid,